The new moon in Capricorn this weekend is showing you where you are under spells. You are under spells. Stop searching for signs, baby. You are the sign. That is enough. You are the creator and the destroyer. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. That kind of responsibility is very heavy. And why are we feeling this heaviness? It's because so far in 2026, this January, we've had many planets in Capricorn. Capricorn energy is very activated. We have Mars in Capricorn, Venus, Mercury, the sun all in Capricorn. And then this weekend, of course, we have the new moon in Capricorn. Right? So Saturn rules the harvest. And so Saturn knows when to plant, when to nurture and tend, and when to harvest the seed, when to harvest. So it's about loving that very slow, sensitive progress. And that is why Saturnian energy can feel especially stalematey, like nothing is happening. I'm waiting for the pen to drop. And nothing's happening. And it can be very infuriating. You may have felt like so far in 2026, it's felt like many months have gone by. It's been a very long year and it just got started. Okay. Again, that is the symptoms of this Capricorn stellium in the sky. And the crazy part of it is next week, we're going to completely flip the script and we're going to have all of these planets shift into Aquarius. And then they're going to conjoin with Pluto in Aquarius, right? So next week is really, after we get past this new moon in Capricorn, it's going to finally feel like the fresh energy, the fresh start that you have been yearning for after what's felt like a very long beginning. Capricorn energy is the reality check, especially with Mars in Capricorn, right? Mars finds his exaltation in the sign of Capricorn because Mars in Capricorn shows us what happens when we have a lack of stimulation, when we are bored. Where does that energy go? It typically goes to conflict. It creates conflict in our relationships. It creates conflict within ourselves, right? We begin to get angry. We begin to get frustrated, right? We get very pent up and constipated, right? So this new moon in Capricorn this weekend is going to be conjunct Mercury in Capricorn and also Mars in Capricorn. Now, where is Saturn? Saturn is ruling this new moon. Saturn is currently still in Pisces, conjunct Neptune in Pisces, right? Now, we're going to have Saturn enter Aries next month. We're going to have Neptune enter Aries later this month as well. That's for another discussion and another day. But with Saturn and Neptune ruling this new moon in Capricorn, it's really showing us how a symptom of a lack of stimulation, a lack of creativity, a boredom, it can also manifest as overly obsessing, overly fantasizing. And this robs us of our clarity. It prevents us from being able to make the right decisions for ourselves, right? And it can get us in situationships. It can get us in get us caught up in these false or toxic mindsets or narratives and vices, and we lose direction. We lose a sense of purposeness. It feels like we don't know up from down, right? So what Mars in Capricorn does is Mars exalts in Capricorn because Capricorn is about refinement. It is about fine tuning. It is about finding that efficiency. It's about narrowing all of the bullshit out. It's about removing all of the rot, anything that is stagnant, anything that is holding you back, anything that is old or stale. Because Mars is about severance. It's about severing. Mars loves discernment. And so with Saturn conjunct Neptune in Pisces, ruling this new moon, it's really showing us where we are under these spells, where we are being delusional, where we are overly fantasizing, and how that's taking away from what we really need to be doing. It shows us, this new moon is really going to be showing us what is draining, right? And we might find that we need to leave the orbit of whatever we've been orbiting around, especially if it takes us away from self-preservation, if it takes us away from self-belief. And so this new moon in Capricorn is really going to be about developing an unshakable self-belief that no matter what is happening, you are rock steady. And that is why Mars favors the sign of Capricorn. Because Capricorn understands that nothing happens in isolation, right? And with this new moon in Capricorn opposing Jupiter in Cancer retrograde, right? We have this feeling of like, we can't think about our feelings so much. We have to think less about our feelings, and we have to remember that emotions are energy and that they're meant to move through us. And so this new moon in Capricorn is really potentially going to enliven you, especially as we move through the rest of January into February, when Neptune will be in Aries and Saturn will be entering Aries. This new moon in Capricorn is finally going to be about moving forward, right? And even if that process is very slow, still embarking, right? This new moon in Capricorn is really great for banishing off any negative energy. This is a great time for cleansing, for purifying your home, purging your closet, any stagnant, stuck energy. This is a really great time to cleanse that, because that is protective. With Mars in Capricorn conjunct this new moon, it's really going to be showing you that you can afford to be more confident. You can afford to have more audacity, right? You can afford to be more vigorous. Like, I think the idea of loving what you do, making it easy, is very much against Capricorn and Mars energy. Loving what you do and doing it every single day does not take the work away. It does not make the work easy. It just means that you will be loving the work that you are doing. So this new moon in Cap, and don't be afraid if you break a sweat. Don't be afraid if you break a nail. Okay, you are honoring Mars, right? If you struggle with Mars themes like assertion and self-assuredness, this could be a very healing time for you, right? Like if you feel like your throat chakra, for example, is just like really backed up and it's just like completely a void, this could be a time where you really find your voice. This is when you're using your voice to ask for what you want, and you may even be surprised by the outcome, by the result. And, the energy of this new moon in Capricorn this weekend is going to be about having those honest conversations, right? Even if it makes you deeply uncomfortable, even if it feels ugly. Mars is about honoring what we perceive as ugly. Mars is about understanding that not everything needs to be beautiful and wrapped up in a little bow all the time to be valid and to be useful. Sometimes we need to wear down what we are using completely before we go get the new thing, right? Sometimes it's the ugliest paintbrush that works the best. And this new moon in Capricorn is really about making it exist first and then doing the fine tuning later. And understanding that nature is coded with the binary code. Everything is literally just ones and zeros. Everything is up and down. And so you can try to chase the high. And I think that is really the shadow with Capricorn. And the cardinal energy is really going to be activated. So Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, Aries, this is your year in general, because we have some outer planets entering cardinal signs, right? And we still have Jupiter in Cancer throughout most of this year. But especially right now, Cardinals, this is a really great time for you to realize that trying to chase the high all the time is going to make you fall out of love with the work that you're doing. And that is the fucking key, cardinal signs. And that really goes for everyone. Your cardinal house, especially your Cancer, Capricorn houses, are very activated right now. They're going to be seeing a new fresh start with this new moon. And you're coming to some new realizations regarding your Capricorn, Cancer houses right now. But this is a time where you are realizing that when you fall out of love with the process, that is when it is over. It's so over at that point. You need to be in love with the process when no one else is watching, when you don't have the outcome, when you don't have the result. When you're chasing the result, when you're chasing the validation, that is when it's gone. That is when it's over. That is when you are out of alignment. This new moon is about really returning to self and embracing the lows, embracing the low periods when you're at the belly of the beast. This new moon is a really great time to reflect on how you can build better self-reliance, and this is really going to prepare you, I promise, for the energy of the rest of 2026 onwards, okay? You need to be present. You need to be doing to get the clarity that you want. Pay yourself with your self-belief. And then you're rich, right? Follow through and keep going even when you're not on the high. That's the key to mastering the cardinal energy that's being ushered in 2026. This new moon in Capricorn, what you plant is going to be around for a long time. So be very intentional. Good luck.